Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, 30 teams entered, 12 remain. Today, we're going to talk about our playoff predictions. We're going to give a tribute to some players retiring only on losses above replacement. Let's get into it, boys. How are we all doing?
I'm doing all right. I had a bit of a restful weekend, I would say. I went apple picking yesterday with my family, my brother's family, so that was fun. It was actually nice out after we got flooded during the week last week. Tropical Storm Ophelia did some damage, let's say. But yeah, I'm doing all right. I just booked a trip to Austin, Texas next week, so going on a little bit of a vacation to see one of my old college teammates. So yeah, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, it's been a rough couple days over here in Seattle. We're gonna talk about why a little bit later, but for Seattle Mariner fans, it was not a fun weekend. Like there was definitely some good hope, and then that hope getting quickly dashed. So that's how it be, I guess.
It is what it is. I remember when I was a kid, the Braves had 2 years in a row. They gagged either game 161 or game 160 or game 162 or game 163. That was rough. Um, it happens to all of us. It just happens to the Mariners a lot more often than everyone else. So with that said, we're going to talk about some teams that are not the Mariners and made the playoffs. Sorry, Alex. The wild card rounds have been set. All the playoffs have been set. We have the 5-seeded Texas Rangers heading down to Tampa to take on the 4-seeded Rays. We have the 6-seeded Toronto Blue Jays paying $7 per ticket to go to Minnesota to play the 3-seeded Twins. In the National League, we have the 6-seeded D-backs heading to Milwaukee to face the Brewers. And we have the 5-seeded Florida Marlins, or Miami Marlins, taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Boys and girls, pick one matchup. If you could only watch one, you can only watch one. Only one can be on your TV. Which one would you watch? Mac, we'll go with you first.
This is a tough question because really, I think all four of these are pretty intriguing matchups. I'm going to pick one to watch though, and this might throw people off, but I'd pay attention to the D-backs Brewers series because I think this is one where it could really go either way, especially with some news today that the Brewers will not have Brandon Woodruff. I think that the D-backs are a young, exciting team, maybe a year ahead of schedule in some ways, but they snuck into the playoffs as the 6th seed, and they haven't been there since 2017, if I'm not mistaken. So it's their first appearance back since then. And you got the Brewers, who came off a disappointing finish last year, just missed out, and they even without Brandon Woodruff, they have a loaded pitching staff, and they have an offense that it's a bit inconsistent, but they have enough pieces to make things interesting. So if I'm going to pick one of these, actually, I'm going to go with the Brewers and D-backs. I feel like they're not super big market teams. Maybe they're not the flashiest, but they're definitely worth paying attention to.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great series. I would lean with maybe the closest matchup, perhaps. I think both Miami, Philly, Toronto, Minnesota, I think you have clear favorites there. Texas and Tampa, I think you have better teams than Arizona and Milwaukee, but I do think Tampa's a bit ahead. Alex, what say you? What's your pick for the best series?
Yeah, I'm actually with you on this one here, Splash. For I like Texas and Tampa Bay. Watch, I think that is going to be a very fun matchup to watch, but even more so, we have seen a huge, I'm not going to say a decline, but definitely a bit more of a down spiral for Texas over the last month specifically. And well, actually, let's say 2 months. And from it now, they remember on the final day of the season when they finally lost that division spot again. So now you have them as the number 5 seed, and they get to take on the Tampa Bay Rays, who, mind you, the Rays are only a wild card team because the Orioles played out of their minds this year. And by the way, one of the teams I'm going to be rooting for. But overall, I think this is going to be really interesting. This is going to be a prove it series for Texas, I think, because Texas really kind of, if I'm going to be honest with you, stumbled, or should I say limped over the finish line on this one right here, where honestly, again, remember, there was a scenario for Texas that they didn't make the playoffs. There are a couple of scenarios where they did, and the scenario that happened in real life, they did not win the division. That sadly went to the Houston Astros. But from that, I think right now Tampa Bay is such a good, talented team. This team has plays baseball, just plays the game so efficiently. I think that's the best word to describe the team. They are efficient at what they do. And so seeing what Texas is going to do, they have had a lot of questions going for them since day one. And then middle way through the season, we'd all just kind of said, okay, it looks like Texas is going to win the division. And that didn't happen. So now we get to see what happens when they have to go through the wild card round and have a tough opponents in Tampa Bay. And then right after that, even if they do win, it does not get any easier as now they have to go up against the number one team in the American League.
So I'm going to go in a slightly different direction. I think the series to watch here is Toronto and Minnesota. Why? Both of these teams are generational chokers. We saw last year, the last couple years with Toronto, we saw the trailer to the movie. We saw one of the worst movies in history. We all chose them to win the World Series last year. Then they blow a big lead to Seattle and look absolutely stupid on their home field. And Minnesota, they haven't won a playoff game since I began organized schooling. I am a college graduate. I've been a college graduate for a year and a half now. Let that sink in.
I was in preschool when they last won.
I am currently about to turn 30 in a few months.
Congratulations on being old.
You're not wrong, and I hate it very much. I was gonna make the joke earlier, saying that you're the baby right now, considering all this, but you're still, you're a college graduate. Yeah.
But that's just putting in the time here.
No, it's a testament. And to be fair, it's honestly, like I said, more of a testament to the Twins, who again should be referred to as the T's until they actually win a playoff game.
And will they win a playoff game? We will see. They are in the second slate of games at 4:38 Eastern for those inclined. We're recording this Monday night. So I think this is the series to watch because both of these teams are total frauds. We just know this from watching baseball every year. I think Texas is a good team. Tampa is a good team. The four NL teams could be good. Go Marlins, by the way. But the four NL teams, I think, can be competent. This is Toronto, Minnesota, I think is just going to be total laugh track for 18 innings. I do think Toronto wins the series in 2, but it's going to just be both teams trying to sell as hard as humanly possible. I have no idea. There could be like 12 runs, 17 runs, 45 runs, or all the bats could go silent and like Yusei Kikuchi could turn into prime Justin Verlander crossed with Randy Johnson. I don't know what's going to happen, except it's going to be absolute carnage.
Yeah, I will say I'm curious to see though, can the Twins get a playoff win finally? I mean, it's the thing is that in a 3-game series, there's so many different outcomes. It's weird to say because it's such a short series, but like that's the thing is you win one game and all of a sudden you're already in the driver's seat. So maybe the Twins get lucky and win a game, and maybe they win the series. Who knows? I think I do sort of agree with you, Slash, though, that we should all keep an eye on it because I mean, like you said, these are two teams that not the best playoff history lately. So who knows? It can go either way, really.
That's my thing right now is what I was trying to say a second ago is that right now for the Twins, this probably is the best chance for them to win a playoff game because, like you said, it is two teams that have notoriously been pretty bad in the playoffs as of late. 2022 Toronto Blue Jays. But anyway, from there, I think right now this is going to be the best chance. But what you said earlier about it being a short series and a ton of outcomes, I feel like that's a double-edged sword for the Twins right now. A shorter series does mean you have to win less games, but that also can be your detriment is if you can't get anything going and you're a team that's already not won in the playoffs for a long time now. Insert Splash's analogy here. Like, if you could feel you can feel like the race is already over before the starting gun. You can feel that really quick. So I agree. This is gonna be one to watch, but more on the fact of will history be made in the Twins actually winning a game, or is it just going to be what is supposed to be the opening credits of the next movie that Toronto is making?
Well, let's get it right into it there. Who do we think wins the series? Toronto at Minnesota. Mac, give me your team. Give me your number of games.
So this is a tough one. Like I said earlier, I think the Twins have a solid pitching staff. They're going Pablo Lopez game 1, Sonny Gray game 2. The Blue Jays leading off with Kevin Gausman. I think that's a bona fide ace. it's kind of a mystery box after that, though. That's the thing. So I think I'd like to say Toronto has the better overall offense. The more I think about it, though, and I mean, I think that I'll give the Twins this. I think they win a game, which I know they're desperately looking for. I think it's the game Sonny Gray starts. But that being said, I think Toronto wins a barn burner in game 3, and they take the series 2-1.
Right, Alex?
I've seen this script before when it comes to Toronto. They start Kevin Gausman game 1, saying that, all right, this is going to be our guy, and doesn't. So, here's the thing, though. This is what makes it a little bit odd for me. I think that the Blue Jays have it in 2 games, or the Twins have it in 3. I don't think there's any other way that goes about it, because right now the biggest positive when it comes to the Blue Jays is their offense. Their offense is going to be what wins them games here. But if you start getting deeper into the games, that pitching quality is going to go down, 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 down. Whereas the Twins, it's pretty solid. Again, you have two very good starters and a third one that you can makeshift whatever you need to do for that. So I think what's going to happen is either the Twins win it in 3, Blue Jays win it in 2, or win it in 2, and my vote's going to be that the Blue Jays do it. I think that right now, and I'm going to have the dumbest reason for it here. We were talking about this before the show here, that the tickets for the game here in Minnesota, right? You could go on and you could get tickets for lower than $10, which means that people are selling their tickets for that low as well. Which means that you're probably not going to have a packed stadium for a playoff game in your own home stadium. Give that advantage a little bit then to the Blue Jays.
Yeah, this is tragic. I have Toronto in 2 games. I think they have the better staff. I think they have the better lineup. They have been there before. Granted, last year didn't go all that well, but they've been there before. So in theory, you have some experience there. And Alex, I know we give Toronto crap for the rotation. A lot of that, I think, boils down to Alek Manoah self-destructing. But behind Alek Manoah, the Blue Jays put together a really solid staff, like 2, 3, 4, 5. Bassett had a good year. Barrios is competent. Gausman, he's going to get some Cy Young votes. Our guy, Yusei Kikuchi.
I was about to say, don't you dare say Yusei Kikuchi.
I'm going to say it. I think he could be a multi-inning guy in the playoffs.
I think, out of the bullpen, yeah, sure.
I think he can.
Toronto
maybe
is the clear favorite here.
I think, he's gonna be 2 innings if you're up by 7. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So here's the thing I'll throw out there though is I watched it in person last year. Chris Bassett imploded after a great season. I mean, the lights got, I think, a little bright for him, to say the least. What I'm curious to see is if he does pitch this series, can he redeem himself? Because last year was alarming. Really, it was. And that also, you got to keep in mind the Twins, while their offense did score a lot of runs, they also lost Royce Lewis late in the year. And he was, Mr. Grand Slam, cash money with the bases loaded. And really, I think Toronto's bullpen, I think, is overall better. It's a little top heavy in Minnesota. Other than Yohan Duran, it's a mixed bag of things. Emilio Pagan's kind of inconsistent. Same with Griffin Jacks. And then out of the bullpen in Toronto, I mean, you have Romano, you have Swanson, you have Tim Mesa. All those guys are good. And then the lineup, while they sort of underperformed in some ways, but like Guerrero, Chapman fell off kind of, Springer, but they all have the star power and the experience, I think. So that's why I do think the Twins steal a game, but I still think the Jays can win this series.
Fair enough. All right, let's move to the other American League series. We have Texas heading down to the Trop to take on the Rays. Alex, let's hear it.
I think that the Rays take this. Like, we've seen right now that the Rangers, honestly, their pitching staff is what worries me the most. And we were saying that at the beginning of the year, we were saying that midway through the year, and we're saying it again at the end of the year. Funny though is that each time you say that, you said it's for a different reason. So at the beginning of the year, because you thought, oh, you have DeGrom and nothing else. In the middle of the season, you are down a DeGrom, but you just added Scherzer, but still not a whole lot else after that. And now at the end of the year, now you have neither. So at that point right now, I think this really just comes down to the fact that I think the Rangers are playing cold right now. They had a pretty darn bad last week of the season where they won, what, one game, I think? Something like that. And right now you're playing against a team that the only reason they did not win the division is because a team called the Baltimore Orioles decided to play 3 years ahead of schedule, basically. So, right, with that being said, I think that right now the Rays are clearly the better team. Don't get me wrong, the Rangers have some incredible offensive pieces. I love guys like Adolis Garcia, Corey's brother. Kyle's brother. I will always like a little bit more. Jonah Heim is always fun, but overall, just the team from Tampa, the team at the Trop, they're playing like a team that knows how to work efficiently, and that's what I think it's going to really come down to. I say that the Rays win it too.
Yeah, I'm going to second that right there. Really, the tough part is I think the Rangers have more top end talent with guys like Seager and Simeon, and to a certain extent, Eovaldi and Jonah Heim. But as great as that offense is, high scoring offense in the American League, they're 10th in the league in ERA. I mean, you saw that pitching staff really break down. I mean, Dane Dunning sort of he was almost in some way a savior because he was kind of consistent in the second half, but like Eovaldi really started to wear out. He had those injuries. Then he really got lit up in his last start of the season against Seattle. And then that bullpen, I really don't know. Oh, and I should mention John Gray is out too. And then Martin Perez really hasn't been that great this year after his All-Star season. I guess their most consistent starter is Jordan Montgomery, who will start game one. So great, you have Montgomery, but that bullpen is just Will Smith has been unreliable lately. Brock Burke has been up and down. Jose Leclerc has been good, but he also gets very wild. It's just you'd never know what to expect from the bullpen, and that's my biggest issue. The Rays are the second highest scoring offense in the AL, and they have the third best ERA in the AL. I think that is by far other than the Orioles, maybe they're the most complete team in the American League. So I have the Rays winning this. I also have the Rays winning this in 2. And I'm going to make a prediction, say there's going to be one of these 2 wins is going to be a walk-off.
All right. I like the boldness. I like the prediction. I happen to disagree with both of you. I think Texas takes the series over the course of a full season. I think Tampa has a better way to succeed, right? But in a 3-game set, potentially 2-game set, give me the high-powered offense. Give me the Seagers and the Semyons and the Lows and the Youngs and the Adolis Garcias and the Heims of the world. Give me that over Tampa's pitching advantage. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We've seen teams get hot with the bats and they go all the way to the World Series. We've seen quote unquote bad teams, quote unquote, like 6 seeds, 5 seeds, that sort of deal. They can make progress when the offense is cooking. And Corey Seager, he's done it before. He's one of the best playoff performers in the league. And you just have that at the top of the lineup, and you have that trickle down of, we have a guy that's been there before. He's done that before. He's won a World Series before over these Rays. He was World Series MVP that year. I think that's an advantage. I know Tampa makes the playoffs every year. I know they've, kind of been there, done that, but I think Texas has the right amount of, the right combination of been there, done that with the Seagers of the world. And a lot of the, sort of newcomer, like ready to take over Major League Baseball. So I have Texas winning in 3. And I think you're going to get a good start out of Jordan Montgomery tomorrow or today, if you're listening today. And you just got to split game 2 and 3. And I think Texas can do that.
And that's the thing, though, is the only reason I do not doubt the Texas lineup, but that pitching staff is, I think that good pitching beats good hitting about 99 times out of 100. And I think that Texas pitching staff is just too inconsistent. I think the Rays just have so many arms they can go to look, they lost Shane McClanahan, Drew Rasmussen, and Jeffrey Springs this year. And they still won 99 games. and I expect more out of them too. I know that their bullpen's been taxed kind of because their starters don't always go super deep into games, but I think they just have they're a more complete roster compared to the Rangers.
All
Right now,
right.
I think I will say this right now is that if I think the Rangers have the offensive advantage, in my opinion. And I think that what you said about it, one of these games being a walk-off, I would not be surprised if that's on the Rangers side of things. I think
Well,
one thing we could see is I think we
it's
could.
all the games are in Tampa Bay, so
I
that's
know. Oh, okay, but at least like okay, a
yeah.
go ahead in the night.
I get what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah, we'll go with that then. So you know what I mean. But I could definitely see just like a big ninth inning comeback where they just all get hot at one time to win a game. But I don't see it happening. I saw it 2-0.
All right. Let's hop over to the National League. Arizona Diamondbacks heading up to Milwaukee to face the Brewers. I'll start first here, and probably a controversial opinion. I think Arizona is built for games like this. They are built to, you know, screw you over and score a run here and score a run here and run here and run there and scratch a run across and win these games. Very similar. I've compared them all year, I think, to the 2014-2015 Royals. And I have Arizona coming in, taking care of business, sweeping Milwaukee here. Losing Brandon Woodruff, that's a big deal. And we've talked about Milwaukee the last few years. It's the pitching, right? And you have the three co-aces. You have Burns, you have Woodruff, you have Peralta, and then you get into the bullpen. Well, the thing is, if one of your starters is gone and you're relying on your fourth or your fifth guy to fill in these innings, well, those guys aren't Brandon Woodruff. Woodruff had been cooking the last couple of weeks of the season. Burns has been very solid. Peralta's been getting his act together recently, and now you just lose that you lose that sort of momentum. And I think Arizona can take advantage of Milwaukee having to move down the pecking order. Milwaukee has a lot of holes in their lineup. They have like two good players in their lineup. You have William Contreras, who I will say it's a travesty. The man was not in the top 50 postseason players. He was like 15th in F4. He's one of the best catchers in baseball, so don't give me that nonsense. But I have Arizona in a sweep. Mac, let's go to you.
So yeah, here's the thing: is I'm not really sure what to expect when Brandon Pfaadt is starting game one. I mean, starting a rookie in game one of the playoffs is a bold strategy indeed, especially considering his numbers. But he did make some progress over the year. I understand his season ERA of 5.7 is not pretty, but I think that like you were saying, losing Woodruff had been one of the best pitchers in baseball in the second half, and without him, I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag when it comes to behind Peralta. I mean, who are you going to go to? Colin Rea? Wade Miley? Like, I understand Miley's been solid this year, but his peripherals are, let's say, sketchy to say the least. So I think that the D-backs have the better lineup for sure. I think the Brewers have a pretty strong pitching staff, but without Woodruff, it's a little suspect, and that bullpen could get taxed pretty heavily. I think the D-backs, even if they drop game one, they have Kelly and Gallen lined up for games 2 and 3. So I'm going to agree with Splash that the D-backs win the series. I'm going to take them in 3 games, though.
So I'm gonna just make probably a bit of a controversial opinion here, but same pick. I think the D-backs win this. I think they do win it in 3 as well. But here's what I think. Everything that we talked about when it comes to that makes the Brewers special, the D-backs do it better. Like, here's the I'm not gonna say like they have the same number 1, 2, 3, because again, like everyone that you said they're for the Brewers, very, very good. But then you've also got Kelly, you've also got Gallen on the D-backs side, and they have the confidence to start a rookie in game 1, which, to be fair, I think game 1's probably the game you lose of the 3. But at the same point, though, the Diamondbacks also have a solid bullpen, including my boy Paul Sewald backing up at the end of that bullpen and doing great work over there. But I think right now you just look at the team and like you said there, Splash, this team is built to scratch out runs. They are built to they don't need the long ball to always win. which honestly, that's what the Brewers have really taken advantage of most of the year, is that a lot of teams, they think they need the long ball. They think they need to hit big home runs. They need to get all these solo shots, and that's how you're going to score runs in the game. The Diamondbacks are just really good at manufacturing runs, about playing with speed, getting base hits, and you know what? Having a big knock here every now and again as well. That's how you're going to beat a stalwart pitcher. You are going to beat a tough pitcher by chip damage over and over again. Like in Pokemon with Toxic and Poison, you just got to keep chipping them down over and over again. And sooner or later, the big bad wall that's right in front of you tumbles right down. I'm going to have the Diamondbacks winning it in 3 as well. They're going to lose the first game, but then win the next 2.
That would be quite entertaining. I would imagine that's a difficult conversation if you're Tori Lovu and you're like, okay, we just lost game 1. How do you respond? Because your backs are against the wall as soon as you're down in game 1, because you know your season could be over tomorrow. And yeah, you can bounce back and you have time, but it's really not that much time. Like, you have to bounce back. And one team we saw do a lot of bouncing back, actually not very much bouncing back because they were quite dominant last year. That's the Philadelphia Phillies. They're hosting the Miami Marlins for 3. Alex, what says you about the Fish and the Fightins?
Well, those reminders of the podcast back in the beginning of the year. Well, remember that I picked the Marlins and the Phillies in very odd spots here, but I'm gonna leave that for now. I think right now this is a very easy pick for me, sadly, as much as I want to root for the Marlins. I think the Phillies are just better built. I think the Phillies are just that good of a team, where, again, the reason why they are a wild card team is because a team called the Atlanta Braves, Atlanta Braves, are one of the best teams, if not the best team in all of baseball. So take with that what you will. I think the Phillies are just really well built for this exact scenario, and the NLDS is going to be extra spicy for that game between the Phillies and the Braves.
So Phillies in how many games?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, 2 games.
All right. Thank you. Mac?
So on paper, this should not be close. I'm just going to say it. The Phillies, while they, the gap in the standings quite large between them and the Braves. The Phillies played at a 99 win pace from June 1st onward. And then you look at the Marlins, and I'm not a huge fan necessarily looking at Pythagorean win-loss as like a way to judge a team, but their Pythagorean win-loss is 75 and 86. That's because they went 33 and 13 in one-run games. And also, I saw the stat earlier. They are the first team ever to finish dead last in their league in runs scored and make the playoffs. Here's the thing. They don't do anything particularly well. And it really amazes me that they made the playoffs. I saw that, I saw it earlier. I think it was on Friday when they rallied against the Pirates that they had, I believe, 6 or 7 games where they were down by 3 runs or more entering the 7th inning, and they ended up winning those games. And it's just crazy the amount of bounces the Marlins got this year. And, this would be a weird enough season where the Marlins win this series, but I think the Phillies are just – this is the last team I'd want to face in the National League. I think they're also – they were at 49 and 32 at home. The Marlins were sub 500 on the road this year. Yes, the Marlins won the season series, but I think the Phillies are going to blow them out, really. I'm not sold on the Marlins, really. I think they're just a year ahead of schedule. Also, Luis Ariz, their best hitter, has barely played the last couple of weeks. So give me the Phillies in 2. I really don't expect this to be that close.
All right. Let's go back. There's a series in 1960, the World Series. The New York Yankees beat the Pirates in every measure you could imagine. Hits, runs, walks, ERA, whip, whatever. Pick your number, the Yankees won. The only thing they did not win, ironically enough, was the series. So I have, give me the Marlins in 3, but the Phillies put the beat down in the game they win. It's like 16-4. So the Phillies end the series with a positive run differential, but the Miami Marlins come through in the 7th inning, the 8th inning. They come through the timely hits. It's just what they do. It's why I'm backing Arizona. And I think it's like a culture thing. You have heat culture in the NBA. This team just performs when it matters, performs under pressure. I know the Phillies did it last year, but give me the Marlins. This is definitely not Cope. Give me the Marlins.
Okay. I mean, like I said earlier, though, this is a weird enough season where, the Marlins have had so many things go their way that I wouldn't be terribly shocked if the Marlins win this series. That being said, I just think especially if Harper and Turner are, continue to play the way they did the last couple of months. I mean, like I said earlier, I think this might be the scariest team in the National League. So be wary.
I will say I do find it funny that Splash, when did you tell me you got your last dose of copium in? I've been waiting on mine. But
I'm also waiting on mine. That's the thing.
No, I'm just messing. Honestly, right now, I think that this could be of the series that we're seeing this wild card round. I feel like this could be the trap series where one team is definitely the better of the two. But like you said, we've also seen that the Marlins pull out gutsy wins over the course of this year. This could be just one of those that turns into this team is better than the other, but they lose anyway because of it being a short series, because of just how the games play out, because of the fact that baseball is a sport that trying to predict it becomes a futile effort half the time. So overall, right now, I still very much think that the Phillies are the better team. Although I will not be shocked if they lose. If you put them on a downward, if the Marlins win game 1, I think that they win the series. I think if they win game 1, like you said, once you're in the driver's seat, that sends some teams into panic mode. We'll see how well, if the Phillies have to respond to that adversity, we'll see if they're able to.
All right. Speaking of the Phillies, speaking of the Marlins, today, we're going to do rapid fire LDS, LCS picks because we won't do a podcast again until next Monday. So we'll start with Atlanta. The winner of the Phillies and Marlins heads to Atlanta. Alex, you picked the Phillies. What is your NLDS pick?
Yes, the Braves will win their series, and it will not be close. I think the Braves just take it. It's gonna be 3-1.
Okay, Braves in 4. Mac, you also have the Braves.
I'm gonna heavily disagree here especially on the fact that you say it won't be close. We saw what Philadelphia can do under the bright lights last year. I got Phillies in 4.
All right, Philly in 4. I have no analysis for this series. Actually, I guess I chose the Marlins. Braves in 3. If Philly were to win, you might as well just you might as well flip a coin. Like, that is better than trying to do any analysis. There's no point in analyzing anything. Both of these teams don't make sense. One team is going to get super hot on the mound and in the batter's box. But if it is the Marlins, Braves in 3. So yeah, there you go. For the other National League series, we all, ironically enough, have an Arizona LA series. So Mac, Dodgers, D-backs, what you got?
Give me Dodgers in 4. This team is ready to rock.
Dodgers in 4. Alex.
I'm gonna be honest, there's a pick I want to make so badly for this. You know what? We're gonna do it. Diamondbacks in 3.
Whoa!
I think that
is a curveball.
So here's the thing. I'm gonna give a brief reasoning. I think that I would take the pitching staff for the Diamondbacks, right? Just their starting pitchers wise, because right now, from what I've seen with the Dodgers, it's gotten shaky as of late. It is either going to be Diamondbacks in 3 or the Dodgers in any other number. That's kind of how I predict it's going to be.
Okay.
That's not me trying to backpedal it. That's me saying that if the pitching staff holds the way that I think it can, it's gonna be 3. But if it's any other number, it's Dodgers.
See, this is a weird thing with the Dodgers because I agree with you. I think the starting pitching is fraudulent. They are trying. There's been some rumors or news and whatnot that Dave Roberts has told Kershaw and Lynn and those guys just to expend all your bullets and we'll cover the back end. Well, the problem with doing that is you are exposing yourself. You are saying, okay, let's say Kershaw goes 4 innings or Bobby Miller goes 4 innings, 5 innings. You're getting 12 outs with your bullpen every single time, right? And you are asking a team to win 11 playoff games with that strategy. That's hard to do, right? And as soon as one game goes awry, right, you just wasted everything. So let's say, first off, I have Dodgers in 3, but let's say they blow game 2. One of their Evan Phillips blows a lead, Arizona wins. I could conceivably see that, or Milwaukee wins. Pick your poison. You just wasted a start from one of your guys. You just wasted their 4, 5, 6 innings. Then you just wasted the 7th inning guy. You just wasted the 8th inning guy. You just wasted the 9th inning guy. It is so difficult to win with that margin of error. I do think the Dodgers will do it. I think in a 7-game series, potentially against Atlanta/Philly, that's a tough ask, but give me Dodgers in 3. But Alex, I agree with your reasoning.
With how well you guys immediately were like, whoa! I'm really glad you see my thought process at the very least.
Yes.
There's a method to the madness, maybe.
Yes.
Look, there's a method to the madness, and I am quite angry.
It'd be like that. Well, speaking of anger, let's talk about Alex's least favorite team in the history of sports, the Houston Astros. In this universe, they are hosting the Toronto Blue Jays. Mac, how do you see this series
Wait,
going?
would they? I'm just trying to make sure I got my matchups right. Oh yeah, no, they're the 3-6. Yeah. So Astros, Blue Jays. I personally don't even think these Astros have peaked yet. So give me the Astros in 4 games.
All right, Astros in 4. I'll go next, so Alex can continue to brood about how his Mariners missed the playoffs. Astros in 3. Alex, your turn, buddy.
Blue Jays 3. Next prompt.
Okay. Okay.
I refuse. I refuse. If I get to have my own little made up world for a little bit, I refuse to let the Houston Astros win.
Yeah, I respect it.
Okay. Fascinating enough. Now we have Texas/Tampa heading to Oriole Park at Camden Yards. I could go to one of these games. I think that it would be a brilliant
idea. You should go.
Please, yeah, do it, man.
I should absolutely go.
Camden Yards is probably gonna be electric.
Yeah, it's gonna be incredible there.
All right. So both of you have Tampa advancing here. So Alex, Rays or O's?
I think the O's got it.
League.
I think the O's got this. I think the O's are such a strong team this year. Their pitching is good. Their offense is good. Everything about this team is good. There's a reason why they won triple-digit games this year. I'm going to take the O's in this one, but I'm going to say it's going to be in... Oh, that's actually tough. I'm going to say it's going to be in 4, though. Okay. I'm going to give it 4. I was thinking about making it 5, but I think they're just going to go full heavy offensive.
Orioles in 4. Mac.
I think these two teams are incredibly evenly matched. I mean, the Orioles 101, Rays 199. Give me the Orioles in 5, though. I feel like both these teams aren't super experienced. The Rays maybe have a touch more experience, but I think the Orioles, they're ready to go. I think. Give me O's in 5.
So I am the outlier here with Texas advancing here, and I think we're going to get an all Texas ALCS. I have Texas in 4. All right. In the NLCS, let's see. We have Alex has Arizona and Atlanta. I have the Dodgers and Atlanta. Mac has the Dodgers and Phillies. Mac, go first.
This series, I think, can really go either way. But I think this is where I'm going to give the slight edge to the Dodgers. I think their offense combined with, yes, their pitching is kind of shaky, but their bullpen, I think, is better than the Phillies. So give me the Dodgers in 7.
Dodgers in 7. Alex, you have the Titans. No, you have the Braves, the Braves, and the Diamondbacks.
Braves and the Diamondbacks. Interesting. Okay. So on this one, as much as I want the Diamondbacks to keep going all the way, because I would love to see them in the World Series, I would love nothing more than to see them in the World Series. I think the Braves are just better. So give me the Braves. I'm gonna say though it's gonna be in 5. So
Okay.
actually, sorry, not 5. 6 games. I'll make
All right.
6.
You guys have LCS MVP picks.
Oh,
NLCS MVP
Yes.
picks.
Yes.
I'm. Whew. I think I'm gonna go with the one that maybe is, I guess, slightly more surprising than an obvious pick. I'm gonna go with JD Martinez.
All right.
okay.
Just dingers. Alex.
You're really just making us try and say good things about the Braves. I see it. But I'm gonna
This
say
Alex, this Mac dude picked the Phillies over the Braves.
I know. I'm just messing with you. I'm gonna go Matt Olson.
All right. Matt Olson, in the Atlanta, LA NLCS for the third time in 4 years. I'm going to lean Atlanta. I think the pitching. I think the pitching is going to matter. I think you'll have Fried back. Fried's pitched in big games, and I know you're going to say, well, he was injured and Strider was injured last year. He came back and got lit up. Yes, one of them had never pitched in the playoffs before. The other won Game 6 of the World Series in hostile territory and beat the Dodgers in Game 6, the previous series. So one's a gamer, the other likes his quads. So whatever. I'll go Braves in 6 in the NLCS. And for series MVP, give me Sean Murphy.
That's a fair pick. I think that's a
All
fair
right.
pick.
Yeah.
All right. The American League Championship Series. Alex has Blue Jays, Orioles. Mac has Astros, Orioles. I have Astros, Rangers. And I'll go first here. The Battle of Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, including the margin of victory here. I have Houston kind of molly-whopping Texas here. I'm gonna take Houston in a sweep. I think Houston knows how to play in these situations. They swept the Yankees last year. They swept the Mariners last year. I had them sweeping the Blue Jays this year. And in that 4-game series, I think Alex Bregman's your MVP.
So that's the tough thing here, is that I feel like the Orioles, I'm sure, are obviously, the Orioles are a stacked team, but the Astros have been there time and time again. And I think that for the third straight year, you get them in the World Series. So give me Astros in 7 games. I think this ALCS MVP is Kyle Tucker.
You mean Justin Tucker?
Yes, Justin Tucker.
100%.
Right.
Justin Tucker. Yep, best
All
player.
right, Alex, back to you.
All right, so my pick for series was Orioles versus Blue Jays.
Yes.
And I'm giving this one to the Orioles. I think the Orioles are just such a good team and are a really good matchup to no matter what team they go up against here. I think that the Orioles win this one in, I'm going to say 5 overall. And the MVP is going to be the second best switch hitting catcher in baseball.
I'm trying to think of other switch hitters besides the obvious.
There's only 2 switch hitting catchers in baseball that I care about right now. Come on, you know who it is.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about, but I can't
For
think
the
of
Orioles?
any others. Yeah, I know Orioles and your guy is a Mariner, but
yeah, so
I'm trying to think of any other switch hitting catchers.
The problem is that Cal Raleigh is number 1. So just keep on with that one, Rushman. It's okay.
I second that.
Okay.
Good. Mac is right, is what we're saying. Mac is correct.
Anyways,
I'm always right.
We have some interesting World Series matchups. Mac has the Astros and the Dodgers. I have the Braves and the Astros. Alex has the Braves and the Orioles. Alex, as the Birdman himself, what say you? And give me a World Series MVP as well.
First thing I do want to say overall, though, is that Mac is picking the same World Series that we've now had way too many times. At this point, now it's becoming the Shrek series, where it was good at the beginning. It's gotten stale, but
Okay.
sorry about that. Anyway, regardless, I think if this is going to be an amazing matchup. If I get to see Orioles versus Braves, I am all about it. But I think when I see this, you know what? This is why I was not prepared to pick today. I'll tell you that. I'm gonna say Orioles. I think the Orioles are such a well-built team that are play at such a high level. Their biggest competition at this point of the playoffs was back in the divisional round playing against the Rays. So I think at that point, this is gonna be their next big competition. I think they step up to it. Give me the Orioles, but give it to me in. Let's go. Let's go in 6.
All right. MVP.
Oh, MVP. I really want to say Gunnar Henderson, but I'm going to say Rushman again because I think Rushman is just that good.
All right. The
But
Jeremy
still,
Pena method.
but still not as good though as Cal Raleigh.
It'd be like that. Mac, you have a Astros, Dodgers. I think I already know who your MVP is going to be, regardless of the team. But let me hear your prediction.
This is a tough one to pick, and honestly, this does not indicate what I necessarily want to happen. I'll say this much, but I think the Astros end up repeating. They take it in 7 games, just so that we get as much baseball as possible. Give me series MVP. Man, this is a tough one to pick. I am
There are definitely
going.
some wrong answers here, Mac. I'm going to tell you that right now.
That's the thing. I'm going to go with a dark horse here, and I don't know if he's going to play every day necessarily, but give me Chas McCormick. Something just tells me he's winning Series MVP.
Hey, balled out last year. He had one of the best catches in the history of the World Series.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I have Astros and Bravos, both teams a little well rested. And I think the last few years we've been missing that classic Game 7, the ones we had in 2017, we had in 2019, we had in 2016, 2011. And I think we get a 7-game series, but in classic Atlanta sports fashion, I think the Astros win it in Atlanta. So I'll take the Astros in 7 over Atlanta, which would probably be the end of my podcasting career if that happened. And I think your MVP over 7 games, give me Framber Valdez. I think he's a guy that has failed in Atlanta before, and he's a guy that give him game 2, give him game 7, and I think he can ball out. So to recap, Alex is the Orioles in 6 with Adley winning World Series MVP. Mac has the Astros in 7 with Chas McCormick winning World Series MVP. And I also had the Astros in 7 with Framber Valdez winning World Series MVP. So I'm going to call a little bit of an audible here. We usually have our moment to ourselves at the very end, right? We have the 1 minute to ourselves. I would like both of you to pick a player who may or may not be retiring and give me your 1 minute or short tribute to him. Miguel Cabrera, Joey Votto, Adam Wainwright. If you'd like, you can pick, or I can go first and narrow your options.
I'll go first.
All right, Alex, go ahead.
So I've got just a minute, or do I have all the time I need to?
I mean, minute would be best for
okay. I'll keep it fairly short then.
How fair are you?
Yeah. All right. So for me, overall, my number 1 guy that I am devastated to see leave the game is Miguel Cabrera. Miggy has been one of my favorite players in baseball for a long, long, long time, and it's for a number of reasons. Number 1, as a first baseman myself, I loved watching him play the position. Was he always the best defensively? Absolutely not. But was he good enough? Yes. Did he do whatever the team needed him to do to win? Yes. Was he the best hitter on the planet for a good stretch of time? Absolutely, yes, he was. But even more than that, he was a good dude. He was a good guy, too. One of my favorite clips of Miguel Cabrera is not even of him even playing baseball. One of my favorite clips is in one of the games right after he signed his big mega extension. He was just walking out to the on deck circle, and some kid puts his arm through the fence and is trying to get Miguel to shake his hand. And he's just kind of chilling. Miguel's like, "Come on, can I please get a handshake from you, Miggy?" And Miggy turns up and just goes, "All right," and just goes and gives the kid a good firm handshake. And I love that. He has a charisma with the fans. He loves the game of baseball. You can talk to any player that has worked with him, and they will all say the same thing. He was like a kid getting to play the game. That was his mentality while still being a true professional. And his little stuff he did with Spencer Torkelson, getting to use his glove on all that was absolutely chef's kiss. So Miguel Cabrera, a player that is going to be, in my opinion, a first ballot Hall of Famer. This guy is a legend, and I'm so sad to see him go.
All right, Mac, pick your retiring legend.
All right, so I'm going to go with one, and I'm going with Adam Wainwright. And I'm sure most of you know, in Flushing, Adam Wainwright is kind of a public enemy for the way he ended the 2006 season for us. But over time, as much as it ripped my heart out, that curveball Carlos Beltran, I really grew to respect his game. And that he had multiple injuries that cost him seasons, and he kept coming back. And this year it was a brutal season for him. He had by far the worst season of his career, but the fact that he kept pushing through it and he wanted to take the ball every fifth day, and he did end up getting that 200th career victory, I respect it a lot. And will he go into Cooperstown? Who knows? 2 World Series rings, if I'm not mistaken. I think maybe he does end up in Cooperstown just for what he did. I understand. I thought he would have retired last year with his battery mate, Yadier Molina, with Albert Pujols, but I respect the fact that he came back for one more year. Happy for him that he got his 200th victory. And I haven't really known this sport without Adam Wainwright, or for that fact, I haven't really known the sport without Miguel Cabrera. So congrats on a great career, Waino. Obviously, I know Mets fans have some choice words about 2006, but I really grew to respect him. And hats off on a great career.
Absolutely. One of the legends of St. Louis. And I'm actually going to stay in Missouri here. I know I mentioned Joey Votto in like the lead into here. I'm going to talk about Zach Greinke. I don't know if he retires. I don't know if Votto retires. I think they're both on the fence here. Greinke looked rough this year. But he did have one moment with Miguel Cabrera in the final series, Royals Tigers. That was pretty cool. Getting to see 2 hopefully future Hall of Famers duke it out one last time. But Greinke, man, just 2009, 2015 with the Dodgers. He had the little stint in there with the Brewers, with the Angels. He was the last hitting pitcher in the World Series. He hit 8th in the World Series. That hadn't been done since the 19 teens to have a pitcher hit anywhere but 9 in the World Series. But Greinke was the ultimate pitcher. He was a guy that didn't always have the best stuff, didn't always have the best velo, didn't always have the best traits or the tools, right? But he went out there, he battled, he did it his own way. And I can respect that. He rubbed some people the wrong way. He made some enemies, he made some friends, but he did it his own way. Whether that's wanting to hit, wanting to play shortstop, wanting to do this, wanting to do that, sacrificing for his team. And I think he's a Hall of Famer. He's a role model to those in the baseball community that you don't have to do it one way. You can do it your own way, and you can be successful, go to the World Series, win Cy Youngs, win Gold Gloves, win Silver Sluggers. And if Greinke is in his last year, he had one heck of a run with Kansas City and both LA teams, Milwaukee, Houston. So great career for Greinke.
I do want to say one last thing briefly, just because he's a guy we didn't touch on here. And it's not guaranteed he's retiring, but it's looking very likely. And that's Joey Votto, one of the players that was one of the most influential for me, again, as a first baseman as well. But the amount of professionalism he had and the bat-to-ball skills were something that were like of legend. Also, one of the last players of that were also technically also available in MLB Power Pros 2008. So that's sad to see him go, obviously, but also one of the game's elder statesmen, and also good luck to him playing the French narrator in a production of SpongeBob the Theater production over in Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's one of the cool off-season stuff. I hope he comes back. I know one of his last games in Cincinnati he got ejected. So
he got ejected in his last career game in the first inning.
Classic. That is as Joey Votto as it gets, but
it's amazing. Wrong is like sad, but amazing at the same time.
Yeah,
I remember Joey Votto's big league debut. He played against the Mets. That dude just he raked, and he had a crazy eye at the plate.
I hope he comes back. I think this Reds team could win the division next year. I need Votto with at least one more playoff at bat, man. Yeah, I know he could be a bench bat. He could be a guy that kills righties. Just one more year of Votto. I think Greinke can go, Miggy can go, Waino can go. I think Votto is a little bit more in him, and that's a young team. He's an emotional leader. But I will say, I don't think Votto is out of the baseball eye at all. I think he's a guy that could be a broadcaster, could be a talk show like MLB TV kind of guy, or Fox. I think he's very charismatic, and he has a TikTok series, right? That he's like opening up to the fans more, opening up to the baseball community more, and I think he's great for baseball. So I hope he comes back for year. That would be what, 16 for him, 2024. So
I think he'd be 17. Yeah.
I think debuted in 07.
Late in 07, his first full season really was 08.
Okay, fair enough. So hopefully he comes back. Cincinnati could be very good, and that could be a nice veteran presence to contrast with the Steers and the Friedels and the Ellie De La Cruzes and the Christian Encarnacion Strands of the world.
Matt McClain.
Matt McClain, of course, Hunter Green, the young pitcher. So I think that'd be great. But let's transition into our trivia segment. I'm going to go get another host to go get that because I am running out of voice. So here we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is definitely Splash. I have trivia tonight. Today, we're going to focus on the World Series. We have 12 teams that have made the playoffs. Some of them have been to the World Series before. Some of them have not been to the World Series before. Just kidding. All of them have been to the World Series at least once because the Mariners are not in there. Sorry, Alex. I actually made this list before the playoffs were finalized, and I put LOL next to the Mariners. Anyways, so the 12
Splash, I just remember you're playing a dangerous game here, my friend.
Yes, I know. At least I don't have to worry about you saying Mariners. Anyways, the 12 teams that have made the playoffs have played each other in the World Series a combined 11 times. So, team 1, team 2, whatever. They've combined to have 11 matchups in the 120 plus year history, or the 120 year history of the World Series. Alex, Mac, your goal is to tell me those 11. The first one to 6 correct pairs wins. So example, let's say in a hypothetical world, the Yankees made the playoffs and the Giants made the playoffs. Obviously they didn't, but let's say in a hypothetical world, you could say Yankees and Giants, that would be a correct pair. They've played several times. You could do 1923 as an example, or 1922, 1921, whatever. Pick your year. If you wanted to do, say, Tigers and Cardinals, 1968, 2006, what have you. So, Alex.
So,
Mac,
real quick, I'm a little confused. Can you please say the premise one more time? Just to make sure I've got it. I'm a little confused here.
Okay. So, there's 12 teams that made the playoffs. Mm-hmm. You have to give me a pair that played against each other in the World Series. So, if these two teams were to advance to the World Series this year, you would be able to say it's a rematch of year, right?
Gotcha.
So, example, if it was Cardinals and Tigers, 2006. Right? If it was Mets and Red Sox, 1986.
Okay.
You don't have to give me the year. You can give me the year if you want.
No, I will not.
Okay. Thank you. And one of you is a fan of a good football team. The other is a fan of a team that employs Matt Canada. So, Alex, you may go first.
All right. I see.
It is okay. Listen, behind the scenes, I'm a Ravens fan. Mac is a scummy Steelers fan. It is Ravens Steelers hate week. They play on Sunday.
I realized that. Yeah.
You're going to get some pot shots there, buddy. So,
all right.
Alex, understand the irony of a Mariners fan leading a World Series trivia segment, but you can go ahead.
Man, you could just shut the hell up real quick. No. All right. I'll just take the easy one here. Astros and Dodgers. I've had it a billion times.
The Astros and Dodgers met in 2017. Alex, you are on the board. Mac.
All right, Phillies Rays 2008.
Phillies and Rays in 2008 is correct. 1-1. Alex.
Yeah, Houston, Philadelphia.
Houston, Philadelphia. That would be 20.
Wasn't that last year's?
Yes, 2022. I was reading the wrong direction. Okay. Yes, that is correct. Mac.
All right. Give me the Braves and the Blue Jays, 1992.
Braves and the Blue Jays, 1992 is correct. Alex.
Rays Dodgers was said, right?
Rays Dodgers is correct. 3-2 Alex.
Oh, okay.
Mac.
I'm just gonna stick with the Blue Jays. Blue Jays Phillies 1993.
Blue Jays Phillies is correct. 1993. Alex.
I'm having trouble remembering a lot of these. Let's go with.
Remember, first to 6 wins. You guys have 6 of the 11.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. Honestly, I don't know anymore at this point. I'm already pretty well tapped, but I'm gonna say on this one, let's go with Texas and Marlins.
Texas and Marlins is incorrect.
Dang.
Mac, back to you.
Astros and Braves. I'm shocked this wasn't said already.
Astros and Braves 2021 is correct. Alex, back to you.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, I know Mac's gonna win this one here real quick. I'm just gonna say oh wait, Phillies Rays, has that already been said?
That's been said.
Okay. Then I'm gonna go with yeah, no, at this point now I don't know. I will go with Blue Jays Phillies.
That's been said.
Oh, it has been said? Oh.
Yeah, 1993.
I'm look at this point right now. I'm just throwing out answers at this point here, so we're gonna go. All right, cool. That's gonna go the one that definitely I don't think has been said. Astros and Diamondbacks.
Has not happened yet.
Close but no cigar.
It will happen
Mac,
this year. Sounds good. Actually, no, it won't
turn.
happen this year. No, never mind. It won't happen this year.
All right, am I up in that case?
Yep.
Yeah,
You're up 4-3.
All right, give me Phillies Orioles 1983.
That is correct. Would be the 40th anniversary this year. Alex, you got anything? 3 answers on the board.
No, at this point right now, I'm gonna be honest with you here. I'm just still riding the high from last week's trivia win, but that's all I'm gonna get for a while now. At this point now, I'll just say what I want what I want dearly, what I want my World Series to be Orioles Diamondbacks.
Has not happened yet.
Will happen this year. Let's go.
I don't know about that one. Mac, 3 more answers. I'll give you the opportunity to get those 3. You only need 1 to win, but you have the opportunity to get
All right, Orioles Dodgers. I know for sure because that one caused my dad a great deal of pain. Somewhere we have that baseball card of Jim Palmer where he crossed out Palmer's name and wrote a swear word over it. Because he was a Dodgers fan back then, obviously. So
yep, 1966 is correct.
All right, now you said there are 2 other answers.
There are 2 more. Congratulations on your trivia dub. Can you do the victory lap?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to do the victory lap. I'm all of a sudden trying to remember what teams are on the board. Okay, give me a moment while I try to remember everyone who's in the playoffs. Oh, duh. Twins Braves, 1991.
We're not going to talk about that, but yes.
Okay, so now there's one more. And man. Okay. Twins Dodgers, 1965.
Yes, that is correct. Mac with the 8-3 dub. Congratulations. I'll give you 30 seconds to roast Alex. If you wish.
I something. I don't know. I'm not great at roast on the spot. That's the problem.
Oh, so we're gonna say no to the diss tracks?
Wise words there, Mac. Wise words.
Yeah, I tried.
Ooh, wise words.
I battled.
There you go. Congratulations, Mac, on the big dub. Alex, it's okay. Your football team has a competent offensive coordinator. So for our final segment,
also just won 24-3. So
congratulations. Rest in peace, anyone that chose the over in that game. But for our final segment, we do it every week. You guys seem to love it. We obviously love it. I think it is our moment to ourselves. Alex, you mentioned earlier you have one that you have. So if you'd like to go first, you may.
Yep, let's do it.
So you have 3, 2, 1.
All right, so I want to talk a little bit about Seattle Mariner third baseman Eugenio Suarez. This year pulled off a feat that only three other people have done in baseball this year, and that is play in all 162 games. Not to mention the kind of grit that it takes to play that, but also meaning having to take care of your body, making sure you're not getting injured, doing your best while still playing good baseball. Playing 162 games is something you just don't see very often anymore. So seeing him do this, I love it. He is one of the biggest emotional leaders on this team, right alongside JP Crawford and Julio Rodriguez. He's brought the good vibes since coming over to Seattle in that trade. And honestly, I love the dude. The dude has done so much for this team. He hasn't hit 50 home runs in a season. He hasn't been the best offensive player, but you know what he has done? He has really helped instill a fun culture with the team again. He has really been a very interesting player that has actually gotten really good defensively in the stead of Kyle Seager and has played good baseball to the point where I don't see him at third base as a liability. I see him as a guy that's going to make the good plays. He's going to definitely make the routine plays and has been putting in the work to get better. If that's not a leader, I don't know what is. Congrats to Gino for, as my friend calls it, getting perfect attendance.
Yeah, I will say, I feel like playing in 162 games is sort of like I don't know if I'd call it a lost art, but I feel like it doesn't get valued enough. Almost.
I was trying to figure out a stat that goes along with that. I was about to say like like multiple complete games or like pitching
Yeah, something like
250
that.
innings.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not something you see because it's like a multifaceted issue, right? Not issue, but you have teams platooning, you have rest, you have like these random injuries. Then you have things like that are kind of out of your control. Rick, I know Riley missed a game last year on paternity leave, right? So it's like, okay, I, if he misses one game because he had a child in the middle of April, like, okay, right? But then you'll have like Acuna missed 3 games and it came from one, errant hit by pitch. Alonso's a guy that always plays in 150 plus games, but he missed time with the hit by pitch. It's just like kind of the randomness of baseball. And I know we look at like Cal Ripken's streak, but I was listening to a podcast on the 1983 World Series the other day, and they were the hosts were thinking, would Ripken's streak have lasted if the Orioles were good most of those years? Because after 1983, when the Orioles won the World Series, Cal only played in 4 more playoff series. So maybe the Orioles just wanted that to boost attendance or boost like morale. But if they were, winning 90 games, 95 games, 100 games every year, is Cal in the lineup every day? I don't know. So, Mac, you may go for your moment to yourself if you wish.
Yeah, sure, I'll go.
3, 2, 1, go ahead.
Yeah, so this weekend, really, Buck Showalter was dismissed as Mets manager. It kind of caught me off guard, if I'm being honest. I know he only had 1 year left on his contract, so I had a feeling, it wasn't a certainty he'd be returning, but it's just the fact that during his press conference, he went from, yeah, I've been told I won't reveal one way to another to all of a sudden it was revealed he was fired, which I understand David Stearns wanted to take the team in his own direction. He wanted his own skipper, so I respect his decision a lot. I don't think necessarily it was Buck's fault. Team underperformed this year. I mean, he really didn't have a lot of horses to choose from when it came, close games. Especially after the trade deadline, he was kind of forced to bring in, you know, some lesser relievers like, Trevor Gott and Drew Smith, while they might be solid in low leverage situations, probably shouldn't be pitching in high leverage situations. So it's unfortunate that that's the way Buck's tenure had to end in Flushing, but I'm excited for the David Stearns era. And I think 2024 will be quite different from this season. So I'm looking forward to it and start that countdown for opening day.
Yeah, I think you can also start the countdown for Craig Counsell being the next manager of the New York Mets.
Yeah,
So
it's pretty likely.
congratulations on having probably the best manager in baseball. So anyways, I'll go now. 3, 2, 1. we're going to talk about Ronald Acuna for a moment. I know we run a baseball podcast, but Acuna's season is straight out of a video game. MLB Power Pros, MLB The Show, whatever. Pick your favorite video game. Acuna did that. He scored nearly 150 times. That's happened like 3 times since World War II. Let that sink in for a moment. And I know the 73 steals, you can say, well, the bigger bases and well, the limited pickoffs and well, this and well, that. Yeah. The fact of the matter is he stole 73 bases, and you add in the extra value of when he's on first, he can score on a double. He can score on some singles. If he's on second, he's going to score on just about every single hit. He's just a menace on the base paths. And I think things like WAR don't account for he's on second base. That is valuable in itself. Even if he doesn't run, even if he just stays at second and Albie strikes out, Riley strikes out, Olson strikes out. There was value in him standing on second base just as a base runner, distracting the pitcher, because the pitcher's going to have to throw over at least once, if not twice. The pitcher's going to have to, rush home to the plate. The pitcher's going to have to throw a lot more fastballs to great fastball hitters in Albies, Riley, and Olson. And you can just look, how good was Olson with men on? How good was Riley with men on? Actually, not very good. How good was Ozzie with men on? And that's a Ronald Acuna thing. So I thought he had an excellent year. Congratulations. He should win National League MVP. So shout out to Bill Plaschke. So with that said, that's another podcast in the books. Make sure you follow us at LAR_baseball on the Bird app. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you get us. Share us with a friend. If you have any friends that like baseball, we certainly have some friends that like baseball. We run a podcast with them, in fact, 3 of us. Although sometimes we're not friends, aka when the Ravens and Steelers play. Sorry, Mac. If you like our stuff, give us a thumbs up. Let us know you like it. If you have any complaints, please reach out, alexclark@gmailyourmother.com for complaints. If you want praise, hit me up, ryansplashpots@gmail.com. Hope all of you have wonderful days, except for Mac. Go Ravens. Toodles.